Hello and welcome to our episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby. We are here at the 18s Group Buy and Build event, and it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Richard Bell from CoinShares. Richard, how are you?
Toby, doing really well, thank you. It's been
lit up the stage this morning.
Oh, you're very kind.
Earlier on, you've been there. You've been on one of the panels. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to come through about the whole buy and build space, which I think is really interesting. You touched on something when we were talking beforehand about the ability to allow people to do their best work, and I think that's a real important part of buy and build. So we'll dive into that and much more. But let's start off with a bit of introduction. Richard, tell us about yourself. Tell us about CoinShares.
Sure. So I'm the head of engineering at CoinShares. CoinShares is a digital asset manager, setting investors up for the future of digital investing, the future of investing as a whole. I've been there for about 2 years, seen the organization continue to grow and thrive. We've got $10 billion under management now. We're currently going through the listing process on NASDAQ in the US, and great bright future ahead of us. And, many plans to just do lots of new, innovative, interesting stuff that's going to benefit our clients.
It's been extraordinary. I mean, I've obviously watched it, and we started talking about this a couple of years ago, and watching, particularly over the last year, the business. It's been an incredible story, right?
It's been very exciting. It's very exciting. The fundamental nature of cryptocurrency has changed 3 or 4 times, and in fundamental ways. Since I moved across from traditional finance 2 years ago. We've seen things like the regulation of spot ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum in the US. We've seen the change in policy from the change in government in the US as well. And then we've seen the rise of firms like, on the one hand, firms like BlackRock and Fidelity being superbly successful with their ETFs, but therefore owning a considerable proportion of all available Bitcoin. And on the other hand, other new large Bitcoin owners in the forms of the Bitcoin treasury companies and now Ethereum treasury companies as well. So it means that Bitcoin especially is becoming, or has become, a very mature investable asset. And now we're seeing the similar effects happening in some of the altcoin space, starting with Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, and so on. So I've seen a real maturation of the whole industry and the whole ecosystem. And CoinShares being a company that's been doing this for 11, 12 years, we're very, very well placed to have a real value proposition for our clients.
I think that whole TradFi, DeFi sort of convergence, the acceleration over the last 12 to 18 months has been incredible, and it feels a lot more sustainable all of a sudden.
It certainly does. Yeah, we've definitely seen TradFi and DeFi and new finance, digital finance, come closer in the last few years, and we've seen interest in, especially with ETFs being regulated in the US, we've seen interest from investors who normally wouldn't consider coming to this space. So it's a very exciting time.
Absolutely. So let's go back a little bit to the panel this morning that you've been on today. You kicked everything off a very I looked at it beforehand. It's a great panel. You had lots of different opinions from different sort of backgrounds. Tell me a little bit about some of the takeaways. How you would summarise what you guys were talking about this morning.
So the whole panel was talking about modular and microservices and how they can fit together, and that naturally does dovetail into buying and building technology into your firms. One of the things that I feel from a history in electronic trading is that microservices are incredibly valuable. But I do understand that many organizations will have very, very large monoliths that are very hard to unseat. So Steve, who was moderating the panel, talked about this thing called the strangler fig, which is how you can get around modernizing a monolithic trading stack by just putting services around that absorb it, API into it, and then allow a whole new ecosystem to grow from that. I think a lot of the times in the past when I've been involved in getting rid of monoliths or legacy systems, especially in the traditional banking world where I've come from, is there's just a fear of doing these things because it's too complicated or too ingrained. Or in one case, back in about 2008, I was involved in getting rid of a great big AS400 platform from a very large bank, and it worked. The thing is, it worked, and it scaled and so on. But the best you could do for a trader was put a green screen in front of them. There's a lot you could do with that kind of advancement if you just plan it really well and if you build it in a modular way. And that's where going from a monolith to microservices can happen in in a gradual manner for great effect.
Yeah. I think that's the big part. We've got this sort of rapid advancement over the last 10, 15 years, and when I go back to this sort of huge enterprise systems, it was never sort of, I guess, consumer first, was it? It's like, this is what we do, this is how we have it. You have to adapt your processes to work with that.
Yeah.
I think, I've said this in the show a lot beforehand, sorry for being a broken record, but I love the fact now that as the advance of how we expect everything in our lives to be digitally, to be app orientated, to make things there, to be able to define it to how we want to perform. That to me is a great opportunity, and I think one of the interesting things, as we said about the whole buy and build piece, is that allows us to advance that a little bit more, and to allows it to be more bespoke to your company, to your to your trades, whichever area it is. And I think the interesting part around this whole buy and build piece that we're talking about is how, in a similar sort of vein to AI, this should be about making things work and put your biggest investments, your people, your best people, doing their best work.
Absolutely.
And removing that sort of piece behind it. And that seems to be is very much the sort of flavour of the message of today.
Yes,
right?
and coming back to what you were saying about how vendors in the past were very much, this is our product, use it.
Adapt it,
Adapt to it. I think the reaction from especially some of the larger organizations, was that they felt that they had to build a lot of stuff. In order just to innovate to keep up the way they needed to. But I think now actually the vendor community has caught up with a lot of that. And I think that's a nice opportunity for these very large development teams that many organizations have to move further up the stack and recognize that vendors can help with the more commoditized things more and more and more. And as you say, the developers can do the best work. I always believe that an engineering team is there to do the secret sauce of an organization. So, it's to do the stuff that will specifically create a competitive advantage for that organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, every organization draws that line in a slightly different place. But for most organizations, I think what that means is you've got a whole talent pool who understand your business, who care about your business, who are part of your business, and who want to see your business grow. And you've always had the situation that the business themselves, or the trading desks, or whoever it is that face off to your clients, will always be saying, there's more product we need, we can do this new product, it will make us money this way, and there's never been the resource to catch up to it. But I think now with the great new efficiencies that you get from AI, and these large teams now enable themselves for greater purpose, organizations across the board will be able to increase their product output. We're no longer going to be in the case that we used to be, that investment gets strangled by the size of the organization, because now the organization has got a flexibility and a freedom to innovate a lot more.
I think the industry has alongside technology, but the industry has also embraced that a little bit more. I think, if you think about both the buy and sell side, for a long time when it came to tech, a lot of it was about a lack of trust. And when you looked at that lack of trust, it was also about competition, and there was not a lot of, people were covering their homework effectively, not wanting anyone to look at it. They were keeping everything themselves. I think as things have developed and people have recognised that the opportunity comes from this, it's about making sure you open things up. There has been a growth of trust, full stop, at the same sort of time as well. That gives people the opportunity to innovate. And when you look at all of the tech that's available at the moment, a lack of innovation equals a disadvantage in terms of speed. And if you're not quick, you're dead effectively in this space right now. And I think that's a really interesting position to be in. So. Let's summarise with one last thing. Look, you're there. You've been up on the stage talking CoinShares, talking about this subject, etc. If you want people to walk away from this conference today with one or two messages that you think are vitally important in this whole grand scheme of things at the moment, what would they be?
Three things: innovate, innovate, innovate. You've got the opportunity now. You've got the ability. You've got the new tools available. What's stopping you?
And I think innovation is one of those things right now where I don't think we've ever been at a more innovative. What I love about AI is the conversations I have with people from a tech perspective now is suddenly so much more cerebral. People are daring to dream a little bit more. If that's fair to say. It feels like people are thinking, well, how can we utilise that? How can we do this? It feels a lot more exciting about where it can all head, and I think that's a really exciting part. So people have the license to innovate. Let's get after it. Richard, absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Toby.
And I wanted you to come back on the show and do a full episode.
I'd love to do that.
Something we should have done a long time ago. So come into the studio. We'll have you back, and we'll give this can be an amuse-bouche to the main course we'll have later on. Richard, great to see you.
And you.
And thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon on the next episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot.